All right, so Jake and I would like to welcome Eli Schwab to the podcast. Thank you, Eli,
What's
for
up?
coming on and sharing your publisher, indie publisher. Eli is the you're the founder, right, of Cosmic Lion Productions. It's all you.
That's correct.
Oh
Started
wow!
as a pipe
Um,
dream of just a name, and it grew into something real there.
how long ago did you start?
I started the Cosmic Lion banner about 15, 20-ish years ago up in Burlington,
Wow!
Vermont when I was living there.
Wow!
Yeah.
So
I was
so yeah, we go for it.
well, just in that it started more as like booking concerts and performances where I would also tack on a comic book release party with that, and I would be
Nice.
releasing my own comics by myself, and that's kind of the where it all started.
Nice. And it's obviously
Wow.
growing.
Yeah.
So you got into comic publishing from being a promoter before that?
Well, it kind of was really just my own stuff for the first like 10 years, truly. I was a publisher, or I was a promoter. I was actually the production manager at this club called Nectar's in Burlington, Vermont. If you guys have any fish fans out in the audience, it's where fish got their start, and truly I was and am a big fan of them. And I just moved up there
Uh-huh.
after I like failed out of college because I wanted to just like make music my life. So I went up there and I got
Okay.
this job at this concert venue, and I like to say I saw 365 shows a year, which I did. And then I started booking, and then I started production managing, which is like working with all the bands, getting them set up, getting them on stage on time, loaded in, loaded out, and all that. And then it became a thing where I was able to start booking nights, booking music, and I was like, well, if I'm booking the music, then I should also have some comics because that's like my other love. And then so
Uh-huh.
I just started publishing my own books, and by publishing, I mean I would go across the street to FedEx Kinkos and photocopy my notebooks and turn them into a book. And so it
Nice,
basically
nice.
Right.
turned into that, and it was just my own stuff. Monkey Lion, the intergalactic Afro funk band on tour through the galaxy, and then I
Okay.
started meeting other amazing people like Kevin over here. We're looking at Space Nights, and they just needed some help getting published. I guess, I guess like it
Yeah.
was like Wizard and Image Grand Design that got me met up with a bunch of these people, and then it kind of grew from those projects.
So you started doing like little DIY books, and then you found some artists, some other creators that didn't really have the business angle, didn't have the business end of it, and so you just said, "Let me handle that for you," and teamed up.
Exactly, exactly. I did a good 10 years of working for the music venue, and then I tour managed a band on a couple national tours. And then I went back to college and got a degree for entertainment business from Full Sail.
Oh
And
wow.
so that's what kind of got me, you know, into like doing it legit or whatever. And
Yeah.
excuse me. And then so yeah, I just wanted to help out these other guys, and I wanted to just like get this amazing art that I was seeing in front of more eyes.
Yes. Yes, we
Yeah.
do know.
And so great. So give us the chronology. This was the first one after you got out of the kind of like semi-pro or amateur publishing. This was the first piece.
um, yeah, I'm trying to think. I
Well, now
think
let
I
me.
think good.
Yeah, the question I would like to rephrase it as is, you Cosmic Lion Productions website, which there's a link down in the description, so you can immediately get there. I reached out, you responded, and humbly agreed to come on. And then I just asked if you would send a book, and you said I'd love to, of your choice, and you sent these two. So, maybe calling them flagships, or at least something to basically wave the banner of what you would get from Cosmic Lion. But could you give us why these two were sent to us?
Well, I think that you had mentioned Relic Hunter. So I, of
Yes.
course,
Okay.
I
Oh, yes.
sent
No, you're
that
right.
one.
You're right.
I
Thank
don't
you.
want to
Thank you. Yeah.
hyperbolize here or whatever, but no, but I do think that one of the things I definitely strive for is a variety of books and to cover as many genres as possible. Like if you see my table at a con, you will notice that there's like almost every genre, which I'm very proud of. So Relic Hunter, of course, is this like sword and sandal, um, Conan the Barbarian style riff by Adam Lemna. And he and I hooked up again through Image Grand Design, I believe, and through Wizard. No, he submitted his first published work to Wizard.
Yes.
Wizard with a backwards E, the comics magazine that we did with the cartoonist kayfabe ringside seats there.
Right.
And it's cool because he grew up in Frederick, Maryland, which is super close to where I grew up in Cumberland, Maryland, and so that immediately gave us like a connection point. And then he had this great work, and then he also got this amazing backup and all these amazing pinups from Rick Lopez. He got the backup story from Rick Lopez and Manny Gomez, and I just think it's just really well done, and it feels like that the Conan magazine, from Marvel, the 11 8.5 by 11 size, and so it's just it feels really good to look at. There's Rick's story
Yes.
there,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and so I really like working with Adam. We're friends. He lives around here. I saw him yesterday, so like this was a good one that not only shows like what Cosmic Lion can do, but it's just kind of like friends working on something and making and doing something. So, I'm excited for Adam. He's got the second one in the works, and we should have that out pretty soon.
Nice.
And
Nice.
yeah,
And how about
Space
that, Kevin?
Knights. Yeah, Kevin Catalan is the
Catalan.
Wunderkind. He is the I do believe Space Knights is kind of the flagship book. It's the big one. It and Ghost Agents are the ones that, bring people to the booth. They see it from afar. They know it. They've already heard of it. We used to say that Kevin was like 19 when he did this book. I kind of forget if this was hyperbole or
Wow.
if this was real because he's like, I'm 30, I'm 27 now. And I'm like, okay, so I don't know if this timeline's lining up. But yeah, he's 27 now and he's working on issue 2. And I mean, this dude, I mean, he's absolutely insane. The work is
Yeah.
amazing. I did originally see it on one of the cartoonist kayfabe mailbag episodes, and I immediately
Yeah.
reached out and I was like, dude, if you need any help, if you want to publish this again, if you want to do more, hit me up. Let's get working together. And Kev quickly hit me up, and we became friends, and we became cohorts, and we've done a few cons together. We did Heroes Con together. We did. He came out here for Los Angeles Comic Con at the end of last year, and it's just been really great working with him. And his star is rising at a ferocious velocity. I'm just so excited to see it. He's. I honestly I don't know what I'm able to say anymore, but he's working for not the big two yet, but the other three. He's got some other three work or
Yeah,
whatever you call them. You know,
yeah. You talking about Dynamite and Boom and those kind of guys?
yeah, I guess like Image, Dark Horse, IDW area. Yeah, so one
Yeah,
of those
right.
three that I said he's working for soon, which is super cool. Yeah, I mean, and Kev's working on issue 2. We also had the oversize one half that he did, which was um, literally the largest book that Comics Wellspring would make. We were like, "What's the biggest book you can make?" And they made it, and they did a 3-page fold out for us, and
Oh
It's
wow.
pretty cool. Comics Wellspring has told me that I've maxed out their possible print capabilities more than once. They said that
How big? How
Wizard
big was it?
actually, it was 12 by 9, maybe 12 by
Oh wow,
9, I
Nine
that's
by
a
think.
12.
sweet size. That is a sweet
Yeah.
size.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Um, while we're on the printing, um, talk a little bit about the difference between the quick printing and going offset, because you know publishers today have a lot of options that weren't available before. Um,
Yes.
and if maybe somebody's listening to this, and maybe you're just an individual creator that wants to put on your own thing, or maybe maybe you're thinking, hey, I can publish too. I can find talent, and I can put things together and put it out. So what's the what are the print runs, or what's the thinking behind when you're printing a comic finally, and you're going to put it out, how you approach the difference between a big print run, a little print run. What's your method?
Yeah. I mean, it truly comes down to quantity when you're thinking of going with like a regular print run or, like you said, offset. Offset usually requires 1,000 pieces, or that has been in my experience. So we have
Okay.
basically two printers that we work with. Comics Wellspring is the U.S. printer that we work with, and then there's another printer that we work with out of the country through Alibaba.com. And so, if you really
Yeah.
do want to get your if you are making a bigger print run, you want to print more than 1,000, you think you've got something that people are going to love and buy. I mean, it is cost effective to go outside the US. Now,
Yeah.
I love supporting local businesses, US businesses. I love supporting these small printers that we work with, Comics Wellspring, and I've worked with Mixam, I've worked with RA Comics Direct. They all have positive and negatives, but sometimes when you get to the point where you're putting out the numbers and you need more books, better quality, you gotta go for what's the cheapest. And the out of the US print, even with including shipping, it's cheaper. It's a lot cheaper.
Mm,
And
yeah.
so I'll do that, and then I learned about this other thing. It's called gang printing. You can put up a
Yeah.
couple issues at once, and so necessarily,
Yep.
like, I'm printing 3 issues of this new book by Matt Howarth. I don't know if you guys know Matt Howarth. He's a 80s comics guy. He did some work with Ninja
Oh
Turtles. He
wow.
was the first dude to have a pinup in Ninja Turtles. I think his pinup was in issue 2. He did issue 40
Hmm.
something called Turtles in School Dreams, something like that. It was a favorite of mine.
Hmm.
And The Haunted Pizza. Anyway, he's done a ton of other work,
Mhm.
those annoying Post Bros, Star-Crossed, a bunch of stuff. Anyway, I got 3 issues of an unpublished 90s work that he did that I'm going to be publishing with the overseas printer because I want it on, floppy newsprint. And because I'm doing three
Oh
issues, I
wow.
can do like, 3, 6, or I can do like, 4, 8, 12. I can do 400 or 500 of each one, gang print it to get the print run over 1,000, and then still do it like that. So if you could do, like, if you're an indie publisher, be like, okay, I got 3 people's books here. I want 500 of each one, and then I'll go ahead and I can print it in uh, on newsprint. So it's truly just like, how many do you want, and how many do you think you can sell? Because it's
Right.
the publishing isn't just about how many can we print; it's how many can we sell. And
Yeah.
Right.
and so and if you're doing like just a smaller run of like your mini comic, you're going, you have an art book, or you have something that's maybe black and white, that's going to be 5 by 5 by 8.5 or something, like Ashcan or mini comic size. You can get that done here. You can save on shipping, and if you can find a local printer, hell, if you're doing a 5 by 5 by 8.5 like mini comic, just go to Kinko's and just do it.
Right.
That's
Right.
that's what you need, and that's the quality you want, you know. So it all depends
Ye-
on the quality, the quantity, what you're looking for, who you're trying to get to. It's it can be a lot, and it can be daunting, but I always say, just like um there's a guy named Mr. Nike, and he said, "Just do it," and that's what I always say. You gotta just do it sometimes, you know.
yeah, put it out. Well, I had a record producer friend that let's just say he had some nebulous title to different master recordings, and he had a expression, put it out and see,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely. Yeah,
so
because some people
you know
will work on something and sit on something forever, and that's not
Yes.
helpful
yeah,
to anyone. That's not helpful to
Right.
anyone.
Right. Right. Right.
right.
So let's
um
let's jump
Go ahead.
over to promoting. Now that you've printed all these comics, how are you getting them in front of said indie comic collector?
Yes, the hardest part.
Ain't
It
it?
truly is. God, it's truly the hardest part, man, because there's no one way. There isn't just like, here's the way to do it, you know, because it's just so many things, like, and especially in this day and age of social media and influencers, whether they like to think of themselves as that or not. The best thing that you can have happen is for someone to like speak highly of your work in any context to any of their fan bases, because it unfortunately at this time period, some people need to be told what's cool, and that's not everyone, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm a 40-year-old
No, I
man, which
agree.
I am, but it's like a lot of people
I
need to
agree.
be like told what's cool. And so if you can get yourself in front of people through a mouthpiece or something, then that's going to be super helpful. But that's not reliable, and that's not what, and you shouldn't wait for that or look for that. So the big things is just doing what I'm doing what you're doing, getting on the podcast circle. Start your own podcast, and just get
Right.
that going. Like, talk to friends, post social media, send them out to people, and then of course you got to go to cons. You got to get yourself in
All
front of
right.
people, and that's not necessarily just comic cons, because you don't, sometimes it's like, you're going to the shower convention trying to sell soap. Like, everyone at the shower convention is selling soap. It's the number one thing
That's a
for
good point.
showers. But like, so if you go to like local art shows, if you go to like um you know uh, um the chili cook off, or if you go to like all these other local places where artists set up Sunday morning markets or like food fairs, and be the only comic people there,
Wow.
then people are like, oh my god, whoa, comics, holy shit, and you don't always have to sell to like the indie comic darling buyer. Like, yes, I want my comics going to other people who like love music and comics and love underground comics and like to listen to like 60s jam music, or Afrobeat or something. But like, everyone is not you, and you have to want to sell to everyone. I had that problem when I was younger, a
Well,
lot.
you
Like,
also bring up the age dynamic. So you just pulled the 40-year-old card. Jake and I'm 55, and
yeah.
Jake is 72.
Wow.
So the
No, I was born in
Jake,
'72.
Oh,
your
okay.
voice.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, so we're the same age. So we come out of the late 80s, early 90s, through the 90s, comics time, and so I think one of the reasons I definitely got back into comics 8 years ago to getting out of the corporate world, um, I was seeing a lot of my my favorites coming back as well.
Mhm.
And it was like, this is really interesting, and then kept watching, and the next thing you know, um, cartoonist kayfabe comes along. It's COVID, and really everything they're talking about is from Jake and I's time. And they're
Yeah.
interviewing the guys that are this, so from there. So to form this into a question, do you see that in the distribution and promotion model that you're framed in right now, that you're dealing with tiers, like younger people to, let's say, your age to then our age, or is it just a indie comic fan thing?
That goes in like how I was saying earlier. I really tried to find as many different types of creator as well as comics. And so I have, one of the books we published, Frankie Boy Monster, is published by a dude who's 19, or written and drawn by a dude who's 19. He's in college right now, and he's really plugged into this younger market, and his people are buying his book and then buying other books from CLP. So he's helping me branch off into this younger audience. Kevin's audience
Okay.
is like a little bit of these mid 20s. Then I've got, people
Right.
my age. I think this is a great story, but another one of the guys that I publish, Gary Kramer, he's from my hometown, Cumberland, Maryland. The first indie book I ever bought from the paperback exchange when I was probably like 8 or 9. It was the first time I ever saw a comic that was just paper stapled together. It was his book, and it was kept in the like safe drawer of my desk in my bedroom with, I think it's Black Wolf #1. It was like a Marvel UK embossed cover thing. I was like, these are my books that are going to be worth, that are going to put me through college. How everyone thought in the 90s. And then so recently, I was back home cleaning out my bedroom. It's now going to be for my niece. And I found it, and I was like, I got to find this guy. And I look him up, and I'm like, okay, he's still making comics. He makes music. He's like friends with a bunch of my friends. I hit him up. He's just like, I'm working on a new book, and and now I'm publishing that book. It's just like full circle,
Oh, wow.
moment. It's called Paraphrenic, and it's on Cosmic Lion in the comic shop. And so and he's a little bit older. He's like your guy's age, and he's like hits this like 80s metal. Like for me, it seems like Pander Bros, like Undead, Beetlejuice, rocker type of feel. And so I got all these different. Long story short, I got all these different types of creators whose audiences are of all these different ages that help us reach this wide variety of people. So it helps to
Mm-hmm.
diversify the portfolio, as they say, so that you can hit all these different markets. And so that's something I really was trying to do. And the one market, I'm looking to work with more female creators, transgender creators, queer creators, just like different creators who bring a different story and a different outlook
Following, yeah.
to the thing. So I'm just trying to look and work
Yeah, I
with a
was
bunch of
at
different people.
yeah, I was at the Woman in Comics Creator Con, whatever they call it, in Queens
Hmm,
a couple of months ago. They do that a couple times a year. Um, if you want to look out for that, and it was kind of small, but I think they're growing already. If you want to look out
nice.
for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I
Um,
definitely do. Yeah,
so So I have a question. Talk about the interplay that you have with your creators. Um, is it like, well, they just turn it in and it is what it is? Do you kind of set out a vision? I mean, because I'm sure people have asked you what sets your publishing company apart from others. Um, and it sounds like it's really curation, but do you have conversations before the comic is made, during the making of the comic? What's your involvement as a publisher on the kind of editorial output?
absolutely. I'll do a little bit of like editing, of course. Not usually copy editing. I try to get that done by someone else. I have a few people on the staff, or um, uh, we work a little bit with Shelly Bond. She's a friend of ours. She's an editor that worked for like DC and stuff, and she worked with us a little bit and helped me kind of see what it really takes to like edit a book. So always shouts to Shelley. Um, I try to harness their vision initially without imposing my own ideas on it. I'm not trying to make your book my book. I want each artist and creator to look at their final product and be like, this is exactly as I envisioned. But I will get in and harness it. I will get it and tighten it and tweak it. And at the end of every book, we have a meeting. This is truly my favorite part of it, where I'll have laid out all the pages in InDesign, and we'll work with back matter, we'll work with layout, we'll work with flow, and so we'll get on a Zoom, and I try to have Zooms every now and then. That was like a huge part of the pandemic era cartoonist kayfabe crew that put out Image Grand Design and started Wizard and all that, which is truly the genesis of the new age of Cosmic Lion. And so, we'll have Zooms, we'll have these cosmic hangouts, the digital bullpen idea where we'll just hang out and draw, which has kind of grown into a new thing. I live in LA, and I just recently got an office space where I'm trying to get an actual bullpen type of thing going on. So that's a new future thing. I'm getting
Wow.
off topic here. Um,
Yeah.
so we'll
No, it's
have
fine.
these we'll have these things at the end of each book. I'm literally doing one right after I get off with you guys with the new book, Wait, It Gets Worse, where we'll look through the InDesign document, move things around, make sure stuff is, good for the gutters, good for the page turn, chapters are laid out, pages are laid out. And so we will go through each book, and, I'll give some ideas. They'll give some ideas. I'll be like, do you want to do this? Are we looking at full bleed here? Do you want to try this? And so we'll go through it like that. And every book goes through that period. Now, also
Yeah.
people, in kind of like generation one of Cosmic Lion books, we were doing this line across the top, as you can see in Relic Hunter and Space Knights there with the two circles. We had an older logo there, which my dad made, which is basically the Emerson, Lake and Palmer logo with just the middle of the E taken out. And it's this Cosmic Lion Production CLP. Yep, it's his
Right.
favorite band, and that's the first band he ever took me to see. Actually, second band, but the first concert I truly remember with my dad is Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Jethro Tull. And so he made that for me, and I
Wow.
was like, that's genius, Dad. And so I was using that for a while. I had like a lion head logo that I used for a while that I drew, but then once we started getting a little more and pumping out more books, I got an official logo from Sam J. Royale, the same guy who did the Ghost Agents logo. And oh yeah, Kev did the back of
Mm-hmm.
that pinup too. And so we're kind
Yeah.
of moving into these different iconographies too, and I'm starting to have like a few different logos, like Christian J. Mizimo. He made this logo for me. That's like the EC Comics logo,
Ah,
Yeah.
sweet.
which is a common thing. We see a lot of people doing that one.
Yeah. They've been doing
But
that forever.
yeah, I mean, it's
That's
such a
good.
good one. Um,
Yeah, because you attract eyes from different generations that way.
exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really a collaborative process, and one where I'm trying to truly hone their vision, not direct it and not influence it as much as I can, because um, I'm not here to, you know, and I'm not trying to be political here, but I'm not trying to Stan Lee anybody's vision or anything. I'm just trying to like to harness it and to get it on the page exactly how you wanted it, and maybe even add in a few creative ideas from my time doing this to make it a little bit better, a little bit more interesting. I'm almost always going to say, let's add some back matter. You want to do a letters page? Do you want to do something like that? I love all that stuff that gives you like just a little bit more at the end of a comic to like grasp onto. So I
I
hope
was
that
completely taken in. I've read this back matter for Adam twice. Like
nice. Yeah, Adam
it
really
just
took that.
yeah, we have an interview scheduled with him next Sunday. but I'm
Right.
kind of I'm pulling. Basically, he's just gonna have to read. He'll read from this, for a lot of it, which I could make, as an incentive for people to get a hold of it. But yeah, we completely agree with that. It is the comic, but it's you as the artist too, like to
Right.
sell
Right.
yourself,
Yeah, it's a
and I
full
think that was the
package.
big, yeah, yeah.
And especially in
So
these times of social media, like you are not only selling this investment in the person and investment in the book. If they follow you on Facebook or they follow you on, like, I guess more so Instagram or something, then they're going to follow you and become a part of your life cycle and watch you do more art and be there when you release your second issue. And
yeah, because when 2015, I officially came back into, let's say, art making. It wasn't only comics; it was fantasy art as well. Um, but I literally came in with this, just what I used to do in the early 2000s was I'll make in like an autonomous way. It was very, don't worry about me. Just look at how great this is. That type of thing. But as time
yeah,
kept falling, over and over in place, I started realizing, like, well, the script is now split. It's now reversed. It's be somebody and then have merchandise. Have merchandise. Now, when I say be somebody, I'm not saying I am somebody, but definitely when Jake and I started Turbo Pit Fighter, the podcast, all the lights went off. I know for me, I can't speak for Jake, but now I'm a part of something, and now it's Jake and I, and then it's going to be a
yeah,
comic book. It used to
yeah.
be the comic book, then the promoing, then get to know and fall in love with the artist. So, now it feels like. Do you agree that it kind of, like, the script is definitely flipped over?
Yeah, again, I mean, they want to buy into you, so you have a little bit of context. It's the same. I feel like it's the kind of thing of, like, I've bought into Jim Carrey or, maybe even Adam Sandler or something. And so I'm going to see that shitty movie he puts out just because he's in it.
Yeah,
Was it good?
yeah,
No. Did I enjoy myself?
yeah.
Sure, because I've bought into Adam Sandler and I'll see anything he puts out, no matter how, whether it's Hubie Halloween or whether it's, the basketball
Yeah,
movie he did that was actually good, really good. So, like,
yeah.
you truly, in this day and age, you want to be somebody,
Don't
and
forget,
immediately when you
don't forget
go,
Uncut Gems while you're at. Don't forget Uncut Gems while you're at it,
Uncut
because that was a
Gems.
critically acclaimed. Yeah, critically
Oh,
acclaimed.
you know, I didn't like that movie because I like Adam Sandler so much, and I didn't like to see him be that guy. And I was like, "This is my buddy.
Yeah.
Why is he hurting so bad?" It's so funny. I had to, like, take my like, quote unquote friendship out of the equation so I can enjoy it. It's so funny how you truly do buy into these people. You see, like, it's so funny. Oh
Yeah,
man,
and
but
and you
yeah,
know, and as they grow as artists and they take risks, they rise and fall. It's a journey, and
yeah,
Kurt has a great point of that. It's really just about the following now. You're taking your following, and then when you finally have a product, that you want to try to monetize something, or get them to purchase. It should be baked in long beforehand.
right. And you would like to think that people see the art and they see it and they're like, "Oh, this is a cool new idea. This is
Yeah,
something different. I want to try this out." Now,
yeah.
it's tough, man, because part of why I said you don't want to always just do Comic Cons, because you might not stand out there. And unfortunately, another thing about Comic Cons these days, some of the bigger ones, is people aren't there for comics really always.
Not at all. Not at
People are
all.
there. Yeah, like the LA Comic Con we just went to. The big guests were like Dwight from The Office and the Hobbits from the movies, and, like, so people
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
there to see these Hollywood
Or
stars, and
the
they
guy
want.
that was in the you got the guy that was in like one scene in Star Wars, and he has it like, screen he
I
frozen,
hate that.
in a blow
Yeah,
up 8 by 10, and it's
I
real
hate it.
blurry, but he's got a line of people, they're
Yeah,
signing autographs.
the first con I ever did, there was a guy who was listed so much higher than me, and he just was a zombie, one zombie on The Walking Dead in one episode. And I was like, this is not fame. I published my
Yeah,
own
Right.
comic.
yeah,
You should be more
yep, yep,
interested in me, who put in an
yep.
entire year of work on my vision, not this one dude who got lucky
What
and put some makeup on.
I think I told Kurt this story before, but I was at Chiller Theater in New Jersey once. You know, they had comics. It was a lot of horror movie stuff, and Hollywood, and they had 3 floors. You know, and there was this huge line, and it's like, oh wow, Julie Newmar is there. From
Yeah,
Batwoman,
Batman. Yeah.
and so we saw this big line, and we're looking around, and we're like, well, where's Julie Newmar? And so my friend said, I don't know, ask that old lady. And
Oh,
we're- we're- you know, and yeah, it could be a Playboy Playmate, that's selling 8x10s, and she's in her 60s, but
Yeah.
she's still hot on the picture,
Or it
so
was
that's
hot
the
yeah,
when you
it
were
color.
a
all
kid,
depends.
so you're like,
Right.
yeah, and
Well,
famous relative people grasp on to a lot of different things. Like my my girlfriend really loves these YouTube commentator guys. She's younger than me, but and they're hilarious. They're great, and they have these. They have the most powerful and insane fan bases. Like these people, grasp onto every word, and they release sweatshirts and they sell out, and people,
Yeah.
it's just crazy how strongly a fan base will latch on when you do something that connects, and like in this day and age, I feel like it's these YouTube commentators or TikTok stars that
yeah.
don't do anything. Well, I don't know. I can't say that. This is an old man talk. That was an old man slip right there. These YouTubers truly do research and do a lot of stuff and make these videos, but other times they're just watching a TV show and making fun of it. I guess that's the
Yeah.
same as like what we do, which is like read comics and talk about them. But it's just like people don't want to read as much anymore. You know?
It's
Yeah.
it's tough.
No,
It's
Kurt
tough.
and I discovered that we had our idea that, like, let's make comics live on the air, and we were slowly growing a following, but then when we started doing the spin-off, which is Comics That Influence, it's a great visual to get in people's timeline with, two great covers, really colorful primary colors side by side, or some blast from the past, and then we flip through a comic, we comment on it, and then that brings people over to our Turbo channel, and
Right.
it's kind of like a good feeder, and so we've been doing that for, I guess, almost a year now, and then we started the
Yeah,
Comic
yeah, over a
Creator
year. Yeah.
Exchange, which, yeah, over a year now for the Comics That Influence, and now we have the Creator Exchange, which is just a natural progression because we're meeting more people, that are making comics, and or that are also doing flip through, channels. And it's a community. It's really great, and so the doors are definitely opening,
Yeah.
especially now, like the last like 6 months, because you're in people's algorithms, and when they get bored of everything else, then you pop up in their feed, and they're checking out your latest stuff.
Yeah. It does feel really good to like find your
Eli.
community and find your people. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So well, the and
Kurt,
so
you got
this
some.
is all going into our I got yeah, yeah. So I want to stay on this, but I want to really phrase up the question. Eli, what is the
Yes.
future of comics?
Cosmic Lion Productions, of course. Well, and I mean, I say that to be funny, but I
Hey!
also do think that I do think, it is like independent publishers, small people making their own books, putting it out without the like studio system, without um, you know, any edit, without anything holding their vision back. The future of comics is just people making the books that they want to see and they will find the audience, and the audience will be reinvigorated by like these new ideas and a fresh take on comics that wasn't held back or that isn't bound by, some cartoon or some comic that was made 50, 60, 70 years ago, like who's stuck in the times. And, I love Superman. I was brought up with Superman, sure, but this kind of, all American vision is not where comics are today. We want this underground time traveling ninja, or you want, something
Yes.
like that's kind of fuses all your stuff in there, like how, my original book, I wanted to make Ninja Turtles, Star Trek, Spinal Tap, because like those were like my three things, and I tour managed a band, and so I was like, I want to have like Ninja Turtles in Star Trek and they play music, so you want to have these fresh new ideas, a fresh take, and then also like different printing methods. And so if you look at my table on a thing, or if you look at these creative cartoonists coming up, they have an 11 by 17 book, they have a small book here, they have a rectangular book, they have all these different print methods and techniques and these new ways to make people be like, you know, yeah, I'm reading, but it's fun, or something. So the future of comics, I think, is just an unedited, revolutionary new line of books, of comics that make people love the printed word again. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not what we're at now. I was complaining to Kurt about all these variant covers, and it's just so gimmicky. The tie-ins are getting so desperate.
Yeah.
Um, the crossovers, and really, it's just good story and art. But I think there's a couple of problems right now with like a glut. Um,
Yeah.
and so, Kurt, how we doing on time? Do I have time for one more question?
Go for it, bro.
Kurt, you there? Oh, oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
Um. So yeah,
Yeah, go for it.
yeah. My other question is So where do you see your company among the different comic book publishing outfits? There's we spoke about the big two, and then there's like the next three or five or six, and then there's some smaller ones out there. Do you network and collaborate with them? What other publishers out there do you really draw from, and where do you see yourself, as far as like your growth expectations?
Yeah, that's a good question. I really try to model myself after a few different things. There was probably three or four times where I could have dropped this name in questions, but Jim Mahfood has been a huge influence on me throughout the entire process of what I've done. Like, I didn't know about mini comics, and I bought up his 40-ounce mini comic when I was a kid, and then that showed me comics can be this 5 by 5 by 8.5 mini comic. And then he showed me about podcasts, and I started podcasting, and like he's a guy that just either publishes his own books and art books, or has gotten picked up by like Image to do stuff. Okay, so he
Yeah,
brought an idea of just self-publishing and just getting them made and just doing it. But then I look at also somebody like Last Gasp, or of course Fantagraphics, where they're
yeah.
able to reach a larger audience but still have like an underground product.
Sensibility.
And
Yeah,
so I do like those two publishers a lot. I love Last Gasp, especially because like I love the like 60s Haight Ashbury culture. That's what I was brought up with. And so part of that is Zap Comics and Crumb and Victor Moscoso and Spain and all those guys, Rick Griffin. I love all that because that fused my favorite things of comics and music. And so I would love to be on the street with a baby carriage full of my comics and just slinging them to everyone who comes by. And so that's kind of like, what I envision we are is this kind of like underground rapscallion who's climbing its way up. Part of that goes into distribution a little bit. Like, I want to try to get into Diamond, but is that the move at this point? Like, is Diamond where to go? Do I want to look into what are the other ones, Lunar or Penguin? Like, do I want to try to get into shops? Is that where people are looking for these books? One of our
Right.
guys, Tony Wolf from Tales from the Wolf, he lives in New York City, and he just packs his backpack full of books and just goes to every bookstore and is like, "Do you want to carry these?" And I love that about
Yeah.
him. It's like in the
Wow.
Strand bookstore now. It's at
Wow.
what's it called?
Right.
Forbidden Planet. It's in all these different bookstores in New York because Tony just gets out there and takes it. And now I've done that here
Yeah,
in LA.
Forbidden Planet carries everything. They're amazing. They really give shelf space to just like the craziest zine creators.
Yeah,
Anybody they'll put it out. They're good that way.
yeah, I
But
love that.
sorry,
I
yeah,
love that.
you're saying.
No, just saying, like, so, but then, I place books in stores here in Los Angeles, and not disparaging the stores at all, but those books just sit there because when people come into the comic shop, they tend to want, and I keep making these generalized statements about the fan base. I can't say it about everyone, but a lot of people go into the store and they want their Spidey, they want Batman. And, to me, it's funny because my favorite two books right now are Wolverine versus the Predator and Justice League versus Godzilla. And it's like, okay, how could someone not like these books? You know? They're stupid, they're fun, they're full of action. I read Venom too. I'm a little behind, but I was loving, King and Black stuff. Anyway, again, so, look again. You got a venomized T-Rex versus Doctor Doom. Like, how can someone not
Yeah,
enjoy that? But then again, it's sandbox style writing. Where it's like, what two things can I cram together? When I was a kid and playing action figures, the turtles were on the bridge of the Enterprise. There was a high speed chase between Batman the animated series and you know Spidey, and you just want to mesh all these things together, and that's what makes a good book. And you get Kang in
well, yeah,
there, you get
that brings you back to Stan Lee because he was like, hey, sales are kind of like sagging on Daredevil right now. Let's put him in Marvel team up with
yeah,
Spidey, and then
yeah,
get that back up. Or else maybe have a new character, all right, Spidey and the Dazzler, or or Marvel 2-in-1. And
yeah,
it's so funny, because you're as a kid you don't realize that these are all just business decisions.
yeah, sales
The like the
techniques,
invention
yeah,
of the She-Hulk, and everything was just about protecting copyright, or putting something out before the competitor, chasing fads, and there's such a backstory to it all.
yeah,
It's really interesting when you're the publisher because you might ask, especially with something like Marvel, you have so many characters to play around with, but really they're bringing in characters from outside of Marvel right now. They're
yeah.
doing all those crossovers.
It's wild.
Whenever a movie's coming out,
So
or
let me
something
just
to
jump
promote some
let
new
me just
toy,
jump
whatever
in.
it is.
Yeah, let me jump in, and we'll bring ourselves to a close. I wanna ask one last question because you are a part of the Indie Comic Exchange, Eli. We did send you a turbo teaser, so we would love to get your take on what you know about us, or at least what you got out of our turbo teaser. So let us have it.
Oh my god. Let you have it. I'll tell you, my favorite part about the turbo teasers was the sleeves, because I had to reuse them for orders because I ran out of 11 by 17 or 8.5 by 11 sleeves. No, I'm just kidding, but I did do that.
That's great. That's
But
good.
no, man,
Yeah,
I really
I
enjoy.
do the
That's
same thing.
great.
No, I love this book,
We
man. It's
all
super
do.
fun. Like,
We
I
all
definitely
do.
think you guys are. You guys are like definitely sharing DNA with like a guy like Adam Lemna, who comes from this like truly outlaw,
Yes.
like beat 'em up, blood and guts like type of stuff. I really enjoyed it. I like the package that you sent. Like just fully informational. Oh, I got these other books here. Hey, girls.
Like the
You
press
sent me a
release
few
you're talking about.
different issues, I think, right?
Uh, well, we just got the
Yeah, I
one
sent some
teaser,
of
but there was
mine.
also a
I did.
press
There
release.
was
I
two.
think that went out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I definitely got the press release. Yeah,
No, but
no, this is a great
I
package,
put
man. And I
in
think anyone
two
that
of
you
my
send this.
teasers.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, my office is in disarray because I'm moving, but
It's all
I
right.
mean, the comic is full of power and life. Like you can absolutely tell. Um, I think it looks great. The flow is good. I'm excited to see what the full thing is. I think this size and this paper is like the absolute right choice for this book, and I'm just excited. You got to get on. You got to get in with those power comic guys because that's exactly what this feels like.
I'm heading. Yeah, we're heading in that direction. Um, but yeah.
Is that
Thank
where
you.
you guys
It
kind
was.
of got inspiration?
Uh,
Well,
well, the
wait, maybe
comic,
we come from
the
different
sh-
angles.
what,
My Kurt, I think you're on a slight delay, but
Definitely.
yeah,
my
I know. I don't
inspiration,
know
just
why.
talking for myself, is the Road Warrior movies. But Kurt, you can go ahead. I think there's like a 3 second differential between our live audio.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'll have to reach out to good old Riverside. But yeah, no. In closing this interview, and to answer your question, or even it's Jake and I. The story, it was literally left hanging at the beginning of the 2000s, and 2021, I was
Right.
sitting in a cafe having breakfast, and I've had the same cell phone service and phone number since 1999. And of course, Jake had my number, and he rings me up, and it was like we had just seen each other like a week or two prior. And he's like, "Hey, man, what are you doing? We want to get back to making comics?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." But in my head, I was going to spend 2021 just
That's
inking
awesome.
comic books. So immediately I said, "Well, what about Turbo Pit Fighter? Why don't we just finish her?" And you're like, "Yeah," he's just, "Yeah, let's do it." And then we did the old man thing where we were just trying to work like every Sunday. And then Jake said, "Hey, why not podcasts?" And I was like, "Yeah, I need to figure that out. Let me figure that out." So we're coming out of already the past and trying to come in, but we're already, as you even put it, we're stuck. We're stuck in black and white, outlaw, underground. Like my biggest influence is
Yeah.
Spain Rodriguez, and R. Crumb is obviously in there and stuff. But I can even list like
Nice.
Japanese artists and as well as European. I'm actually way more into European comics than I have been for even American, but it's all still being shared. That I think is the real aesthetic, and it's so exciting to see, like, just watching YouTube as a television show, let's say at night, and just watching this stuff pop up, and I'm like, wait a second, who's making that? What is that? Where did that cave come from? And
Yeah.
and once again, even bringing it back to you, and Cosmic Lion Production. I mean, you're on the pulse as well when it comes down to it. So it's super excited to have met
Thanks,
you.
man.
Obviously, share this time. As we tell everybody, we're not the one and done interviewers. We're gonna drag you back on later this year to find out what you're doing. Obviously, share what we're doing,
So,
and keep the community and that this conversation open there. Jake, why don't you finish up anything that you have on your mind, and then we'll let Eli give his closing remarks.
Well, I just think it was lovely to finally sit down with a publisher. I would love to do this again. And anybody in our audience, that hasn't checked out the website, you can go. It's Cosmic Lion Productions, right? .com.
yep, yep,
You see all the different comics there. Really, different array of genres and art styles. And Eli, what should anybody know that might want to get in contact with you? Let's say they have a 28-page book sitting there right now. Are you entertaining those folks? And if so, what should they do? Just go to the website, drop you an email, or what?
yeah, man. I mean, I'm always looking for submissions. I literally got a message while we're here of a guy who submitted something that he's looking to chat with me. I'm always taking submissions. This year is like filling up so fast, it's insane. But I never want to close submissions down because you never know when you're going to find another Kevin Anthony Catalan or another
Hmm.
amazing guy. So yeah, there's a form on the website you can fill out. You can email me, Eli at cosmiclionproductions.com, or find me on the socials. I'm pretty fast to respond. I try to stay connected with everyone, and I do my other podcast as well. I'll be releasing a new episode of the Grendel cast, The Devil in Detail, this evening, or into tomorrow morning. So I do that. And I'm just always trying to stay busy. We are going to be at Emerald City Comic Con. If you guys anyone's in the Seattle area, we'll be up there for that. Hopefully down at Heroes Con, and definitely at Indie Comics Creator Con in New Haven, Connecticut. I'm part of the organization board over there with Rocco Jerome from Ghost Agents and
Okay.
Matt Sardo from Monkeys Fighting Robots. So we'll be over in New Haven at the start of March. That'll be a big Cosmic Lion celebration, as well as a little bit of a 40th birthday celebration for me. I'm not at 40 yet. I'm almost there, but
Oh
so yeah,
wow!
we'll be
All
getting
right,
around the
okay.
block here this year, and yeah, so there's just lots of ways to find me, but you can get everything through cosmiclionproductions.com. I got links to the store on there, links to my spread shop and TeePublic, and all the podcasts and the Ween zine. If you're a
Right.
fan of Ween, we got a new Ween zine coming out hopefully this year. Taking submissions for that right now. You can go to theweenzine.com. And yeah,
Okay.
there's a ton of stuff going on.
And I'll
Excellent.
put everything in
Good. All
the
right.
description below.
Cool. A lot of fun, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks
All
so
right.
much for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll
You're
speak
welcome,
again later
and
this
thank
year,
you.
or maybe we'll see you in New Haven before that.
Absolutely.
All right, take care, Eli.
All right, y'all. Have a great day.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
All right.